You know, basketball to me is like business. And if you understand the dynamics, you could really be able to kind of dig deep into teamwork. You could dig deep into, hey, who situationally can perform better here versus there. And understanding the psychology, but also understanding, and I always say this, turning decades into days, not so much as becoming a great basketball player overnight, but the minds behind the team, the coaching behind the team, the pedigree behind the team, the action steps behind the team, and the proven winners behind the team. There's no coincidence. We could talk about Phil Jackson for a second. Yeah, no, I get it. He coached Jordan, and then he coached Kobe, but the system he had was somebody that, if anyone else coached those guys, maybe would have won 1, 2, 3 championships, but he won 9 championships. You know why? Because the triangle offense was all about sharing the basketball. And any great coach out there in basketball understands if you share the basketball, you could take an average bunch of kids and turn them into an ultimate success by understanding less dribbling and more passing. Anyway, I'm lucky enough today to have with me Eric Youncofski. What's up, Eric?
How are you? Thanks
How
for
you
having
doing,
me.
brother?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Eric is the coach of Middletown North. He just finished his first season. And just to give you a quick highlight, and for all you entrepreneurs out there, it's important to understand systems and processes, but who's your top 5? I always talk about whose shoulders are you standing on to make sure that you could take that next quantum leap forward. And so not only did Eric play for Danny Hurley at a Division I level, right, at Rhode Island,
Yep.
after having a phenomenal high school career right here in Monmouth County, New Jersey, but he also got to coach underneath Danny for about 6 or 7 years.
Yep,
Like
7
director
years.
of basketball operations, was part of the whole system.
Yes.
Understood day to day what it takes to become not only a great coach, but how to motivate a team.
Yeah.
And if anybody knows basketball, Dan Hurley is the son of the great Bob Hurley, who was the coach of St. Anthony's High School, legendary basketball coach that made it to the Hall of Fame. He actually won 28, 29 state championships. He also had 6 players that were six players that made it to the NBA first round draft pick, 142 Division I scholarships, and any player that played for Coach Hurley for 4 years at least experienced 1 state championship. So when I look at Eric, I look at somebody that in any kind of business model or any kind of setting, it's the coaching tree. They talk about the coaching tree. You look at all the different coaches in football or, in basketball, they come from a coach that taught them the game from day one. You happen to be a person that loves the game of basketball. You happen to have your own success with your own dad,
Yeah.
who, as I understand it, grew up in Hudson County, kind of like myself.
Yeah.
St. Anthony's High School, was surrounded by great basketball.
Yeah.
As a baseball player, somehow you gravitated towards basketball, and he was on that high school journey with you. So this is a passion for you. So Eric, thank you so much for being part of today's conversation. I'm super grateful. So what was it like for you growing up? Like, where did it all start for you?
It all started with my dad and my brother. My brother's a Division I basketball coach right now.
Wow.
So he trained me. My father trained me. And what happened was, as I started to get a little bit better, he brought me up to Jersey City. I went to a couple of St. Anthony Open gyms in 7th grade.
Wow.
And I got really into it.
So was your brother older?
Yes.
So you were able to benefit from him being a good basketball player? Was he a good like
Yeah,
you?
he was 3 years older than me. He was a good basketball player.
Got it.
He went to University of Kansas to be a manager.
Wow.
And he knew he wanted to get into coaching, so he was
it.
under Bill Self there. And then he, went right to Cincinnati with Mick Cronin, and then
Yep.
he went to UCLA with Mick Cronin, and now he's at Loyola Marymount.
Yeah,
St. John's.
so Bill Self is a coach with 2 college national championships, and then obviously Cincinnati, UCLA.
Yeah.
That pedigree is incredible. But let me rewind it for a second. For anyone that's watching this video right now, if you went to a White Eagle Hall, that's my version in 1987, 88, open gym at St. Anthony's, you were meeting not only just the best players in the state,
Yeah.
but you were around the best players probably in the tri-state area. And those games I would argue they were on the same level as Rucker Park. The level of competition that you were able to go see at a young age compared to where you were, we call that, increasing your standard, your basketball standard must have been incredible for you. And your dad was able to bring you up there. That's an unbelievable gift.
Yeah, and then, I had a great career at Middletown High School North. I recently inducted into the Hall of Fame there. And I went on to play for Danny Hurley at the University of Rhode Island.
So let's go back to Middletown North, though.
Yeah.
You played 4 years?
Yeah.
Varsity?
Yeah.
Okay, so you were a kid that was heralded coming out of 8th grade locally, I would assume?
Yeah, yeah.
By the time, because this area has traditional teams that win, by the time you were a senior, how well did your team do? Or even like on that AAU circuit, like
Yeah.
what did that look like for you? Because I think that's important on some of these action steps to get to the next step.
Yeah. For us, our AAU program, the Game 7 Sharks at the time, they were very successful. We had a lot of local short conference kids. Plenty of kids went on to play Division I basketball.
Wow.
And then at the high school level, My junior and senior year, we were super successful. We won a state section championship
Nice.
at Middletown North.
Who'd you beat? That was was any upsets for you?
We beat Colts Neck in the championship there. The year before, the big thing was we beat Christian Brothers Academy.
Wow, as a junior, you beat CBA. That's pretty incredible. I know their pedigree is incredible. I mean, they've had great players over the last 20, 30 years, even 40 years. Were you guys not supposed to beat them in that game? Was it like a big upset? And did you know going in it was possible based on your experience?
Yeah, I think, coming into the season, there wasn't a lot of expectations for us. I think going into that game, we were like 11-0.
Okay.
And we had just been on the AAU circuit, like nationally.
Yeah.
So we were ready for any opponent.
And you guys had played together in the summers.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay. So that served
chemistry
you well.
was there. It was a big deal for the high school because it didn't happen often
Yeah.
at Middletown North.
Where was the game played?
That was at CBA.
Oh, you beat them on their court. Yes. Was it close? Was it?
It was a close game.
Okay, so did you play them again after that, or was it just
they came back to Middletown North and got us?
Oh, they got you.
Yeah.
So all right. So they called, but you still won that year.
Yeah.
You guys won the state.
So that year we won our division, and then
Okay.
my senior year we came back and we won our state section.
Now, did you make it into the tournament champions that year?
So we were one game away. So what happened was we lost to Atlantic City.
Okay.
If we beat Atlantic City, we were going to play St. Anthony's at Rutgers.
Oh, well, it was good.
So we
it was good that you lost. I mean,
yes, yeah.
I know the St.
Kyle
Anthony.
Anderson.
Yeah. It's all good. So, but listen, man, I love your basketball journey. I just, I just got to know Eric over the last 4 weeks, 3 weeks actually, and I like to hunt excellence, right? And I admire basketball, but I also know if somebody's a good basketball player, I know what it takes. But then if I look at somebody that's your size and was a really good basketball player, then there's a lot more to it than just like practicing every day. I suspect, without ever seeing you play, but I suspect your basketball IQ must have been off the charts. Your craftiness must have been off the charts. Your quickness and your understanding of the game must have been off the charts. I'm saying it, you're not saying it, but can you talk about some of the edges that you maybe had over other players that maybe been physically bigger or stronger that served you well? Because all the people I talk to are entrepreneurs.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And in the entrepreneur space, we hear a lot of no's. There's a lot of doors that shut before the door opens. Can you talk about overcoming that adversity that you may have had?
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest thing was work ethic, right? And that's before school. Like I was in the gym at 5 a.m. lifting weights. I was, getting shots up, doing anything extra. And then the big thing was, in the summer, like I wanted to play the best competition. So I went to all these events and I got beat up a little bit.
Yep.
And then you came back to this area and we had a lot of success.
So, you're great. I love the fact that you got up at 5 a.m. and then when you get beat up by kids that may have been a little bit more down the road than you, how did you overcome that emotionally? Did you feel bad for yourself at times? Were you and I'm talking to you because this is the message I want my 2 sons to hear, my daughter. Yeah. So that's why I'm asking these questions. And for anyone who has kids, you might want to listen to this and take some notes.
I felt, in the moment, it was very upset. Like it played a bad game and you're crushed.
Yeah.
You can't sleep that night. What happened? And then that's what fuels you the next day.
Yeah.
And you learn from that. You just have to stay in the fight. That's Coach Hurley's big thing with us, stay in the fight.
So you graduate high school.
Yeah.
How did you go to, how did the whole Rhode Island thing happen?
Yeah, so I was going to go to Wagner.
Wagner is a school in Staten Island, New York.
Yeah, I was going to be a preferred walk-on there.
Yep.
And then Coach Hurley got the job at University of Rhode Island.
Can we talk to this people? Because I think there's people need to understand what this means. A walk-on just isn't for anybody. Mm-hmm. You can't just go to college and I'm going to walk on to the team. No. There has to be, I'm not going to say a special invite.
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't know the rules on that. Mm-hmm. But there has to be a certain understanding or a language or a path.
Yeah.
How did you even get to the point where Hurley, and Danny's a phenomenal coach. I have the good fortune of knowing Danny. His dad and my sister's husbands are brothers, so there's a connection that goes back into the 70s. But Danny's always been a dynamite human being as far as personality, and he does stand for, I'm going to say, the blue-collar kid. There's no question in my mind about it. How do you get to the point where you're even a walk-on, a preferred walk-on? Like, what was that all about, going into that season?
So I've known Coach Hurley, right? My father being a Jersey City guy. And
there's no freebies here, though, to be clear.
Yeah, and there is my buddy Mike Iasparro, who played AAU with me. They were recruiting him to go to Wagner.
Okay.
So he was at all of our practices. And so he would come to our games, like all the live events. And,
Danny.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so he got to see me play a lot because he was recruiting him.
Got it.
And when it was time to make the college decision, I was looking at, some Division II schools, and he said, why don't you come here? Especially knew I wanted to get into coaching. He explained to me like what I would learn going there. And the 4 or 5 different ways to defend a ball screen, like things I didn't even know existed in high school.
That's amazing. Proximity is power. Take your notes, take that and rewind it back. If you heard what Eric just said, because there was a player on his team that was being recruited, right? Not just the fact that his dad knew coach, but because there was a player being recruited, the coach came to the practices, right? Or to the games, I should say.
Yep.
And when a coach comes to a game, which is, we could talk all day long about how to be good in sales and integrity-based human influence and, all these different hello to yes. Unless you could get someone to write the check and put it into your checking account with integrity, it don't matter. So the coach comes to the game, and at the game, he sees, wow, this guy, look what Eric's, blah, 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 blah. All the different things associated with basketball, to the point where Coach Hurley, based on what I'm understanding, sat down with Eric and said, hey, you may want to do this because of this, this, and this. And Eric, knowing his outcome, tied to his why. If we know what our why is, and if it makes you cry, then you're going to accelerate really fast. But Eric knowing what his why was, and Coach Danny basically saying, hey, we could teach you how to overcome 4 different ball screens. Now, that is what we call sensory acuity. That's what we call distinctions within distinctions. It's not just overcoming a screen, but 4 different ways to overcome a screen, which is like 4 different ways to overcome an objection. Anyway, thank you for that, brother. That was awesome. I love hearing that. So he says to you, hey, we're going to teach you blah, 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 blah. How hard was it for you to make that decision?
Not hard.
Okay. So that was like...
So like for me, part of me wanted to play,
yep.
but I knew that like, hey, if I wanted to be like a real coach, you have to go learn from Dan Hurley. You can't not do that.
But what was amazing, though, was he 1 or 2 years into Wagner at that point?
So he was 2.
Okay, so the star started to rise at that point. We now knew, remember, Danny left the place out of Newark.
Yep. St. Benedict's.
St. Benedict's.
Yep.
Comes, gets the college gig at Wagner. We don't know if it's going to translate or not, right away. Anyone on the inside knew. Mm-hmm. But I'm just talking about like from the outside. Then all of a sudden, boom and boom. And now all of a sudden he's becoming someone that's heavily recruited on the coaching circuit. So go ahead. So you go there?
Yeah. So, he got the University of Rhode Island job. So
you never made it to Wagner?
Never made it to Wagner.
Now were you like, wow, the universe just opened up for me?
Well, I was like, I don't know if I could still go. Rhode Island's like a much higher league than Wagner.
Yeah.
And I was
Division.
fortunate.
What is Wagner?
It's Division 1.
Low D1, that's right. Yeah.
And then, Rhode Island's the only 10. Like at my freshman year there, 6 teams got a bid to the tournament.
Yeah, so Wagner's like an average insurance agent, and then Rhode Island's like a top 100. Still not Rob Gill status yet, but definitely we're going to trend there as we get to UConn. But go ahead.
I still had the opportunity to go.
He said, "Come with me, kid."
Yeah, and it was the next day. My dad drove me up to the school.
It's amazing,
just to look at it. And I was like, this place is unbelievable. Like, if basketball doesn't work out, this is a great place to be.
Yeah. So tell me more about Rhode Island.
Yeah, Rhode
Island. Were you practicing every day?
Yeah. So I was a walk-on. I was on the team. I practiced every day. I dressed for all the games.
Yeah.
I traveled with the team.
Talk about college practice versus high school.
Oh, yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
The intensity is...
speed.
It's unbelievable. The pace, the intensity, the passion, the level of detail. It's everything is planned out to the second, and Coach Hurley, he's so successful because he's got the same mindset he had when he was a high school coach.
Yep.
Like
blue collar.
Yeah, like it's
dad related,
and it's all about the players. It's all about relationships.
Yep.
And like, how am I going to get you better? He's like on the court in practice still.
Yeah.
Like showing, hey, this is how I do it. And you have to do it like this. So.
How about when he yells at people? Is that like the greatest thing in the world? Unless it's you, of course.
No significant learning can take place without a significant relationship. So,
break that down like I'm 2 years old. I love the way that sounds.
Yeah. So, coach, like
no significant learning can take place without a significant relationship. Yes. In other words, relationship capital. We got to know that we love each other, trust each other, believe in each other, and if we do, then we can have a real conversation.
If you see, coach doesn't just start yelling at me, like they're at his house on the weekends. It's like they're family.
Yeah.
So when he's coaching you in practice and he's getting on you, it's out of love.
Yeah.
And you're like absorbing it because you're like, oh, he's trying to help me get better.
Yeah.
Where if there's no relationship and you're yelling at kids, it's going to go in one ear and out the other. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
That's why he's so successful.
How does he handle, and now you, right? How does he handle, because everybody always complains about playing time. I don't care what level, right? Mm-hmm. It's a known thing.
Yeah.
Am I wrong on that? Like, how was that handled at that level?
Well, you know,
or is it a different understanding?
It's a different understanding. Like he'll say like playing time is one of the most easy things because like he's at practice every day and he sees, exactly what happens.
Yeah. So daddy can't help anybody now. There's no daddy ball in college.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Right. Like daddy can't say, can my son get 3 minutes a game? Yeah. And he would never deal with that anyway.
No, and he's just nobody really questions him. Like he's an unbelievable coach.
So you spent 7 years with him
as a coach, yeah.
And did it get better? Did his coaching skill set and elevation? Because you have your blueprint, right? But did it get better and better? Like what was that like?
Yeah, well, he's just a constant learner.
Okay.
Like he's always reading, he's always podcasting, he's always trying to get 1% better.
Yeah.
So he's always evolving.
Yeah.
So and he goes out seeking it. Like he's not somebody who, like, listen, I think he's the best coach right now.
Yeah.
But he's like, how can I get better?
Yeah.
Where like a lot of people, they don't have that mindset when they hit the top.
Yeah. And right now, by the way, the tournament didn't start yet, but before this tournament starts, I'm going to go on the record to say I believe that this team that he has this year will at the minimum reach Elite Eight. That's just my opinion. Just giving you my, I'll never guarantee anything, but that's where my mind's at based on what I've seen in his trajectory. And I think it could be even better than that. But I'm saying at least Elite Eight. I'd be shocked if that doesn't happen. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to what you've learned from there, what would be, and I'm sure there's a lot more than this, but what would you say those 3 takeaways that you learned that you are now bringing back home as you coach Middletown North High School, right? You're going into your second year, I believe. And even this summer, you're going to be coaching an AAU program, right?
Yes.
16, 17U, Epic Elite. It's Eric's show. But what are the 3 takeaways that you really kind of, you put your flag in the ground and can use as your staple in your coaching?
Yeah. And I harp on it, but it's relationships. It's the biggest thing that coach has. His players love him, right? And it doesn't just happen through practice. It happens through spending time off the court as well.
Got it.
And then like compassion too. Like he's an intense guy, but he's, sometimes people have bad days or what's going on. And I think, just the work ethic. Like nobody's going to watch more film than him. Nobody's going to outwork me. Yeah. I'm going to you practice. Like I'm not going to cut practice short to go somewhere. Like this is a full commitment. And for him, and this is rare, like he doesn't miss workouts.
Yep.
Like a lot of coaches, they go recruit, assistant coach, run this. Like, no, like he's there. And some coaches like the golf.
That's amazing.
He does.
Is he a golfer? Does he golf at all?
No.
He's not.
He's about his team and his family, So I think it's just how he attacks it. The day to day.
He's awesome.
Just the intensity of like, I care for you a lot, and I'm going to push you really hard because I want to see you succeed.
Yeah.
So that's what I take with, and the thing for him, and he tells the guys, it's like it's not just basketball; it's much bigger.
Yeah.
Like this stuff that you're learning is life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like things I've had since I've left UConn, like a lot of things that I've learned coaching and playing with him, I've applied to like real life situations.
Absolutely, 100%. So, when you left UConn, was that a challenging decision? Like, what was that like for you? And after that, once you started coaching here, were you able to implement some of these things that you learned along the way to start building out your own program?
Yeah, no, it was incredibly difficult to leave UConn. My wife and I, we had a son, and we moved back home to be around family and stuff, and immediately, got back in touch with my high school and started coaching. And it's just
and that job was open?
The job was open, like at the timing. And we run our practices like he runs his practices at UConn. I mean, it's different, obviously. He's got all Division I athletes in there.
Yep.
But we're doing the same drills.
And how was the passion for you to do it on your own? Did you have good assistance? Like, what was that all like for you?
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good, and that's like the philosophy he has. He tries to surround himself around like people who are going to tell him the truth, give him suggestions. Like he's not looking for yes men to be around. And I'm the same way. There's been people that I have a lot of people that helped me with my North program, and they were around while I was growing up, and they've coached me in AAU, and some are older, and they have different perspectives. And that doesn't necessarily mean like I listen to every suggestion or perspective, but I like to hear like people's thoughts on things.
Yep.
And then, I watch these with my own eyes, and we watch a lot of film as a team.
So how, usually a new coach comes in, you're creating a new system. Is there a buzz now? Like, are there people coming to you more for like next year? Like, what does that look like
Yeah, I think there's definitely an excitement around the program. I think, with the energy and just how we go about our business, how our guys handle their day-to-day in school, off the court, it's all tied in.
So what do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years? Like, what's the outcome?
Yeah.
And believe me, I know this stuff changes.
Yeah.
But the world moves pretty fast, right? Yeah. We're you and I just met each other. It's a brand new relationship, and there's things happening, which I'll get into in a second. But where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years?
I see myself as a successful coach at Middletown North.
Okay.
I see us winning.
Yeah.
We're rebuilding right now. We didn't do great this year, but it's all part of the process. A lot of the young guys got experience, and I see us very successful because I think, the spring and the summer are huge, right? Like work ethic and getting in the weight room and practice and stuff like that. We're going to be able to do those things.
You weren't able to do that last year, right?
No.
When did you come back? What was
I came back in the summer, but I got the job around September, October.
So you didn't have a team. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you basically started in October.
Yeah. And then, with, this summer is I'm running my summer camp. And
what's the date of your summer camp?
So it starts July 10th.
July 10th.
And then it's 4 weeks in a row right there. And, kids can sign up for 1 week. They can sign up for multiple weeks.
And where's it located?
Right at Middletown High School North.
Okay.
So it's incredible. The place I went to school, where I grew up, I'm able to take all the knowledge I've learned over the last 10 years and bring it back home. It's I get the chills.
Plus, you got really good basketball relationships, and you could have good speakers come in for that camp, I would assume.
Yes, we're working on some guest speakers. Yep. So I'll announce it as it gets closer, but I had a couple people
Stay tuned, folks. Yep.
Yes.
And you and I I call it an ecosystem merger. Billy Gilligan introduced us, and I'm the worst coach in basketball history, just to be clear. But my sons last year kind of played on a team that I put together for them. Like I said, I was just on the bench, and I probably added no value whatsoever. So I decided if I was going to do it again this year, I wanted to do it the right way. Yeah. And Billy introduced us, which was amazing. But, Eric is taking over 2 teams, 16, 17U, Epic Elite. We think that's going to be the name. And the goal is to work right through to July, get into 3, maybe 4 national tournaments, have our kids fully, sneakers, uniforms, shooting, sweatsuits, the whole 9 yards, backpacks, and even have the flights paid for, because we don't want anyone to think that they have an advantage by writing a check, to be very clear. So we're going to eliminate any kind of political, social friendships and make sure that we create 2 teams. Eric's going to run it. Create 2 teams where the kids learn the game of basketball that one day could serve them in life and business later on. Do you want to talk a little bit about what the next 4 to 5 months looks like?
Yeah. So we're going to be practicing multiple times throughout the week. And, we're really gearing up to put these guys in the best situation so that when they're in front of college coaches, that they're performing at their peak.
Yeah.
A lot of it's going to be team chemistry. We have tryouts Thursday.
Yep.
So,
and these kids, when they get to high school next year in their high school team, they're going to have certain things that they learn, maybe 4 different ways to overcome a screen, right? Yeah. Or how to get open on a full court press, or certain little, what I like to call distinctions within the game, spacing and really where to position yourself that sometimes people don't teach, right? Yeah. Sometimes coaches assume a kid, when they say, hey, you just got to get open, well, you're supposed to work on that in practice. Or if a big guy, continuously brings a ball down when he rebounds and it gets stolen, well, that should be worked on in practice, right? Yeah. Not during the game. Or if the big guy takes one dribble and then passes it and it gets stolen, well, that should be worked on in practice, not during the game, right? At least the yelling. You had said something the other day, I didn't mean to cut you off, which I thought was the best. And you had said, Danny, you learned this from Danny, the hardest part of this whole thing is practice, that once you get to the game, you're a boxing manager. You're just managing the game. Yeah. And I thought that was real powerful, because if you're yelling at the kids at that point,
it's too late.
I've only seen one coach that yells at kids, and obviously he's the greatest coach in history, which is Bob Hurley, but he doesn't yell out. He doesn't yell at them. He his vocals is about what the next play is and what's happening next. Yep. Not saying you got to bring the ball down and you got to get open. It's always instructive, everything I've ever seen him do. Yep. Anyone else I've ever seen do that, it's just, you just didn't do your job. Yeah. And you're now blaming the kid. Can you talk about what your practices are going to do and what that looks like to manage the game? I think that was incredible.
Yeah, definitely. Practice, intensity is everything. Very fast pace. And then working on the fundamentals. If you go to high level colleges or NBA organizations, they're working on the fundamentals. Nothing is beneath you. You're working on layups, dribbling, really defensive habits, like we're not playing one-on-one. Like if you get beat off the dribble, like where's our help defense?
Yeah.
And then how are we rotating to recover? And, just trying to put these guys in the, in game-like conditions in practice and make it very difficult, put them in situations, we're down by a couple, like here's how we're going to do it in a game so that it's seamless.
Simulation.
In the game.
Yeah. But I think what I'm hearing you say, though, and that's great, I think when you keep going back to, it's about the relationship, though. Like they need to know that they can trust each other and that you care and that there's a real family mindset. It's not just that.
Yeah.
It's also off the court stuff that makes the intangible that much better on the court.
Yeah.
Am I understanding
100%. That? It comes back to relationships with everything.
That's
mean,
amazing.
Even like there's got to be no ego. I'm the coach. It's like even like I've heard Coach Hurley talk to players before the season, like, where do you like the ball? Like, how do you like to come off of a ball screen? Like, how do you make it's a conversation. Obviously, you're the coach and you push them hard and stuff like that. But, you got to put them in the best situation for them to be successful.
That's
amazing. And they have to trust you.
Did you do that last year in high school? Were you able to, even with that first year for the team?
Yeah. We had we actually had 1 week of practice, before our first scrimmage. But I'd come to my point guard and my two guard would say, like, coach, I'm feeling it. Like, go back to me. And I'm like, you give them the confidence.
Yeah.
You believe in them. Because they know if you don't. Like, and I believed in my guys. So, like, they stepped up and they made shots.
That's amazing. Amazing. So, if we look at, like, we know where you want to be the next 3 or 5 years, is there something specific that you feel can really add a lot more value to your world as far as being a coach or an entrepreneur? What would that thing be for you to accelerate even faster? Like, what is something that if you say, if that happens, then this will happen?
Yeah.
Right? Is there anything like that?
Yeah, I think it's the commitment, which I think the players are willing to do. The spring and the summer is huge. That's where you make up a lot of ground on people, especially if people are playing other sports and stuff.
Exactly.
You get on a good AAU team.
I always love that.
Yeah, and so that's all the answers. Like, and we went through a rough patch in the season, and you support them, and we work together to try to do it and win as many games as possible. But that, like, the answers are in the off season. The answers are in who's waking up early, who's getting shots up, who's in the weight room.
Yeah.
Because then, come November and December, like, we're going to see who put the work in.
Yeah. So you as a coach, there's certain rules, right? So how do you track that within the rules? How do you know who's getting up early? How do you know who's in the weight room?
So, you could just really, I'm fortunate we have a strength coach at North, Coach Rose, who's like unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, like, we open it up to the guys 3 days a week. And they go and they have a really good program where they're with their weight training.
Okay.
Then we're able to run open gym. I can't be present.
Yep.
But we're able to have a supervisor, and it's all people that know basketball and stuff, and they can't report back to me.
Yeah.
But my biggest thing is I want to make sure it's accessible for our guys. Like, don't give them an excuse. Like, hey, and they want to get better. Hey, here's a weight room 3 days a week.
Yep.
Here's our open gym 2 to 3 days a week. They're playing AAU. That's how it happens. Like, it doesn't happen by mistake.
That's amazing, man. And for you, when you get to the summer and you're in what they call the live period, is that what they call it for the coaches? What does that look like? What are you excited about when it gets to those? I guess it's 2 months.
Yeah. So there's a live period in April, and then again
for high school.
In the summer. My fault. For high school, June, right? June, and it's just trying to put them in the best situation possible.
So it's not just an open gym. Are you like working on the fundamentals?
You'll go play in like games.
Okay.
In the live period, like you can go play in games.
Are you allowed to coach them during that time?
Only like during the month of June.
So in the month of June, you could set up practices like it's December.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. They recently changed that rule. So summer you have more access to your guys.
They changed away from that, or they changed
to it?
Okay. All right. So in the summer, you can now coach them, or no?
You could coach them on like a summer league.
Okay.
And you could run some practices. You could be there.
Can you coach plays and can you coach designs?
You could work on stuff and start building for next year.
Yeah. And I would assume the coaches that are really, they would probably step into that space and want to do that as much as possible.
Yeah.
Listen, if we could pivot real fast, I know that, you have a family pedigree in basketball. Like, do you see yourself ever going back to college? Is that something that you're interested in? Is that even on your radar right now?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm just, we got the son now. I want him to be in one place, surrounded by family.
Yeah.
And like I said, I went to Middletown North, like it would mean a lot to me if, as a coach, I could turn it around.
Yeah.
And win.
Yeah.
Like I did as a player.
Yeah.
And I think we have the pieces, and if we work hard and we all continue to get better, it's doable. Like that would mean a lot to do it as a player and do it as a coach. It's not going to be easy.
Yep.
But that's what wakes me up every morning.
Yeah. So you have let's call it the formula of someone that's underrated, right? Of someone that is blue collar.
Yeah.
Like there is a map that you could go back in your life and say, well, this is what I did.
Yeah.
This would happen. And now I could show you how to do it.
Yeah.
Right. So basketball obviously was a passion for you. And when you say family, are you and your wife both from the area?
Yeah, we both went to North.
Okay. All right. So there was the family connection. And
yeah. And her parents live in town, mine do. So we want him to, kind of grow up around family. He's got cousins in the area.
Yep. That's awesome, man. So listen, I just want to, first of all, I want to thank you for coming in today. I'm going to be excited to watch as your high school coach, your career, to see what happens there, obviously. I'm super excited about the next 5 months because I just get to be a fan and try not to say anything to anybody at all. That'll be a good thing. And I want to thank you so much. I met you, and within 48 hours, we had an agreement, which is awesome. I want to support you any way I can, including summer basketball camp, 4 weeks of camp. It's a very big deal if you go to the right camps as far as your basketball, not only acceleration, but like understanding, and this is for parents, understanding how your kid could really benefit, not just from a cookie cutter basketball camp, but like a camp that has true, genuine fundamentals and really learning the game at the best way you can during that short time window, but what the takeaways are. And every once in a while, like I've come across a lot of people in my life, and some of the things that Eric just shared, what he talked about, Danny Hurley in particular, his attention to detail. When I think of the entrepreneurial speed and environment I'm in, and I think of the folks that have been there, done that, the one I think of right now is Dave Meltzer, who has not only a sleep coach, but he wakes up at 4 o'clock every morning, and he is literally in 15 to 30 minute segments of interviews and all kinds of work that's being done that's systematized. That is, listen, success leaves clues, and there's no coincidence. It doesn't show up at the front door. You have to, it's not your right. You have to go and get it. It's a choice, right? So I want to thank you, brother, so much. Looking forward to building this out. And just excited that you're part of the Epic family right now, and I'm part of your family. And it's funny that we had such a commonality within the Hurley world. And I'm just super excited and grateful that you're here. Thank you.
Thank you. Can't wait for Thursday's tryouts.
I'm ready to go. I might even try out with the kids.
Let's go.
Yeah.